Ladies and gentlemen, a stuntman, a trained professional who performs dangerous and phys- physically demanding acts, typically in films or television. Welcome everybody to Let's Talk About It. A podcast is a platform for real talk, real people, real topics, real conversations. People following me on YouTube today, I'd like to thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification button, ladies and gentlemen. When these videos come out, you will know about it automatically. People listen to me on audio, like Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, and now soon on Audible. You will love this episode as well. Give me as many downloads as you can. I appreciate all the downloads I have so far. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I have, a very interesting journey and topic and profession today that I would love to know about. My guest today is an actor, a stuntman, and he's appeared in some real incredible shows and stories and movies. Let's talk about the Vampire Diaries. We got One Tree Hill. Heroes, which is one of my favorite shows. I actually love that show. MCU's Daredevil, and the Iron Fist. And also, he went over to DC and did Doom Patrol, which I think that was interesting right there. And also, Cabin Fever. Ladies and gentlemen, Preston Corbell, right? Corbell.
Or Bell.
Corbell. Preston, how you doing today, sir?
I appreciate you having me. It's going to be interesting today, but I mean, I've looked up your audience and stuff. And you're doing great, so I appreciate being here.
Hey, I appreciate it too, man. I'm trying to do the best I can. I like to have like different guests on every week, talk about different topics, different journeys, everything, man. You name it, you go on this podcast, you will see everything on here.
Awesome.
Preston, let's get into the beginning of it, right? Everybody has a journey, everybody has a story. You probably asked this like a million times, right? But I'm gonna ask you a little bit differently, like, because your journey up to being a stuntman, like, how was it for you in your early ages, all the way up to your journey before you decided to be a stuntman?
I guess I'll start like how I began being a stuntman or how I got into it.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. I grew up with the basketball in my hand, loved basketball since I was like 3. I was always shooting basketball. Had a successful high school career, played all through there, and then got recruited by San Diego State and played
Really?
freshman year. And then ruptured my Achilles, which is like the worst injury you can have in basketball. So that was an end of something that I absolutely loved. That was basketball was life. I was a Spurs fan, Ginobili back in the day, but yeah, no, I loved basketball. That was what I eat and breathe, and it was gone. You have an Achilles, so you're not coming back for that. And I'm 6 feet tall, so both of those are pretty big hindrance to that. And so I had to figure out where I'm going. What am I doing with my life? Basketball is no longer. And I lucked into getting in a show called One Tree Hill, and that show is basketball based. So I got to
Okay.
be the stunt double for the main actor on there, Chad Michael Murray. And I got to do a lot of stunts for basketball, and then that led into all kinds of stunts, fire stunts, and jump off buildings, and getting hit with cars, and all the fun stuff. And everyone laughs at One Tree Hill. They're like, "Well, it can't be any stunts in that," but there's a lot of stunts. And the fun thing about TV is you get to do different stunts every single week because each episode brings something new, which you don't have a lot of time to prepare for. So that's very fun.
So when you decided even to do it, like, what was the point where you're like, okay, I'm going to try? I understand you come off your injury, you played basketball, like,
Yeah.
but what was that moment? Like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, did somebody introduce it to you?
I think I lucked out because I had that basketball niche. And when people always talk about how do I get into stunts, I always say be really good at one thing and be the best you can possibly be. And that's kind of your entry ticket in the stunts. And mine
Okay.
was basketball. I could shoot. So that was kind of, I tried out to be on the basketball team for One Tree Hill, which they have tryouts for actors. And
Okay.
I was able to get that. And then, through connections and through proving myself on set, was able to get land being a stunt double for the main character. So it kind of was a ball that kept rolling, but put in hard work, and career happened in 20 years.
So walk me through, like, how was that for like the first day on set? You was like, okay, you got the job, you're gonna be a stunt double for the main actor. Like, did they walk you through the scene or something like that? Like, how nervous was you for doing that?
I think basketball is kind of second nature. So you kind of get on court and it's just basketball. Cameras have never bothered me, so I'm fine there. So basketball kind of was like, okay, we're just playing basketball. It's cool. And then my thing is, I'm not scared of anything. So if you throw something at me, I'm able to do it. And I love film, so I'm able to do anything because I love being on film. If something happens, it's okay. I'm on film. It's something I'm passionate about. So I just don't have those nerves. And if something's introduced to me, I'm gung ho and ready to do it. So I guess just not having the nerves.
So when the film came out, right, when you saw it, and you're looking at the like different action scenes and stuff like that, you're like, wow, you know what, that was me. I did that part right there. Like walk me through it when you first saw the film.
I'll start with Cabin Fever. That was my first film.
Okay.
And I did stunts on that and kind of led into another character called Bunny Man. But watching yourself on screen it's exciting. Obviously, when you first start doing it, hey, my name's on screen. When you're a stuntman, your face isn't always on screen, but your stunt is, and it's kind of like that stamp of my. I always say like my heart went into this and my body went into this because I'm risking my life. And it's that stamp of I'm really proud of that. And when you get to be a stuntman, you're not always your face isn't always on camera, but you put your life on the line a lot of times. So that proud moment of watching it on screen is something else. But
Bro, that gotta be
Cabin Fever,
very nerve. That's
yeah,
very nerve-wracking. That has to be.
for stunts,
Yeah.
yeah, it can. I recently, about a couple weeks ago, did a full body burn, which is just being fully set on fire. And I have never done that before. I've done partial burns, which are your arms and your legs, but I've never been ignited fully, and that was nerve wracking. Being set on fire is scary, man, and you really have to depend. That's when it comes to you're depending on your crew, and when you're set on fire, you're so vulnerable because
Wow.
if they have to be there, you have to trust them, and you can literally die. And I ended up getting burnt on my face and stuff, which wasn't major or anything, but
Okay.
it's scary, man, because you're as vulnerable as can be, and you got to trust your team.
So it's a whole suit, right? I guess it's from top to bottom that you had to put on. And
So,
I mean, is it real heavy?
so fire is interesting. It's many layers, and you're putting gel on. So you're putting, let's say, long johns on, and then you're putting gel on that, and layers and layers and layers of gel, which keeps you cool. But that's your protection. And then you're putting on. I put on like jeans to have that thick layer, but then I'm putting on a heavy coat. So you're 10 layers deep, and each layer has gel on it. So you're pretty covered. The one I did, my hands weren't covered at all, and my face wasn't covered, which is super dangerous when you're fully set on fire. And I was set on fire in the front too. So when you're on fire, you kind of want to move forward. Flames go behind you. When you're in front, it's even more dangerous because obviously they go up, so they don't always go in the back. But I did it in 100-degree heat of Texas, and
Oh,
I was really worried about that. But that gel keeps you cool, and you try to put your clothes in the freezer beforehand, and you just hope for the best, man.
bro, that is amazing right there. I love that right there. Let's go back to Cabin Fever. You said that was your first movie right there. Like,
Yeah.
and I think it's like they made like four of those movies, right?
So there was four. I was in three of them. Have you ever heard of Eli Roth? He's a director. He did Hostel.
Yes, I've heard the name before.
Yeah. So he's a pretty big horror director, and that was his first film. So that's really his child. That was his ticket into Hollywood, and it kind of we had a decent budget, but the feeling on set was kind of you're friends with everyone, but there's excitement because we know something big's happening. And I got to do stunts on that, so I got to do partial burns and all kinds of stuff. And then the Bunny Man, which I do conventions for, and really promote the Bunny Man, and people remember that 23 years later. This Bunny Man that was only on screen for a couple seconds, but it really had that impact on fans of horror. And the Bunny Man came around as we needed something scary, we needed something creepy. What costume do we have laying around? What do we have access to? And it turned out to be a bunny, so it was not planned out. And I still have the bunny head, so that's cool. But it actually
I
came
seen
from
that though.
yeah, it actually came from Eli Roth as a big fan of The Shining, and The Shining has a glimpse of a bear, so he wanted the homage of having that character that had a glimpse of horror. So that's where the Bunny Man came from, and that kind of I was able to do that for three films. So that's kind of my cool character I got to do throughout my career.
Okay, so the horror fans will know who the Bunny Man is, but for people who don't, explain
Okay.
who the Bunny Man is.
So, well, with cabin fever, it's a flesh eating disease, so it's kind of a little dark comedy in there with your horror. So, it's not all horror. You get a little comedy in there, but the Bunny Man, the main character, is being wheeled through a hospital bed, and he sees this hallucination of a bunny, and he's over one of the main characters on a gurney, and it's not necessarily it was supposed to be evil, but it's just this creepy ass. What the hell was that? I will remember that throughout the film. Like, it was just a glimpse, but why is there a creepy bunny, and why was it in such a scene that was so crucial to the movie? And that kind of like the second one, he was just this creepy character. He doesn't talk, but he's just there, and he kind of his aura kind of lingers over the whole cast, and it's just kind of weird and it's creepy. And it just, those few seconds people remember 23 years later, and that's pretty awesome. The horror community is awesome.
That's awesome, right? So when this director came to you with this, and when you played the Bunny Man, like how much spin did you like get inspired from another movie or other stuff you've seen to try and act a certain different or move a certain differently to make this character your own?
So, my person that I always look up for in stunts is also an actor. His name's Kane Hodder. He was Jason in the Jason movies. He was Jason, I think, 6 times. So that's what he's known for. But he's a stuntman,
Gotcha.
and that's really what I wanted to model my career after. He went through a lot of trial and tribulations, and he's just been around for 3-4 decades. And Jason is a character that has a mask on. He's fully covered. How
Yeah.
do you make that yourself? I have a bunny mask on. How do I make that creepy? How do I move around? How do I function? Or do I just stand there still? And his Jason, you can tell it's Kane Hodder because he'll move his shoulders up and down, and he has this way of breathing. So you can tell, hey,
Yeah.
that's Kane Hodder under that Jason mask instead of another actor, because they always bring something to there. And with the Bunny Man, you kind of have to have that creepiness element. Instead of just standing there still, you can't have facial expressions. You got to kind of get into that creepy element of the character. So there's definitely acting involved.
I love that, man, right? Because I remember one of my favorite actors, right? He put everything into it. Like, I feel sorry for him because he actually passed away. Was Heath Ledger. He
Oh,
totally went balls to the wall to play the Joker, and I was like amazed by it. And I mean, to put so much time and effort, right, to play a character is it's just amazing for me right there. I got a question for you, like, because you've been but before we get to your movies, like, I got a question right here. Like, what's the craziest thing that ever happened while you was on set?
I have been fortunate enough to not have any horrible things
Good.
happen stunt wise. I was on a Marvel show. I did Marvel later in my career, and I have about 3 projects coming up that are Marvel, which is cool. But I got to do stunt or wire work, and I was not used to wire work. I was old school practical stuff. You get hit by a car, there's a car, and you get hit. It's going through the motions. And stunt work, especially Marvel's, a lot of green screen and a lot of wire work and stuff. I was not familiar with that, so I wanted to try that out later in my career. And anyway, in between a scene, I was hooked up to a wire, and it retracted. And it was like I was just standing there. I wasn't ready to do anything. We were in between scenes talking. It contracted, and I got thrown back and got thrown on like my right hip, and I tore up my back. I tore up ligaments. I had not spinal damage, but I had mostly muscle damage. But I remember that, and they came to me, like everyone rushed over and stuff, and the stunt coordinator said, "Are you okay?" And I just sat there for about 3 to 5 seconds, and I said, "I'm good. Let's do it again." And that's kind of how the mentality of a stuntman is. You're hurt, but we're there to be hurt. That's what we get paid to do. We're there, and if we get hurt, we don't really have a way to make money, so we have to suck it up, and that's kind of the mentality.
Has there ever been a stunt where someone came to you with and like you wasn't totally all comfortable with doing?
Um,
If you can
no,
discuss it, I don't know if you can or not.
yeah, completely uncomfortable doing. I think I've been nervous about some stuff.
Yeah, I got you.
My main thing is I don't have a lot of limits, but I hate snakes. So I think if
I
snakes
don't
was
expect
presented
so.
to me, I'd be like, oh hell no.
Mm-mm,
I might
mm-mm,
be able to do it, but I really don't like snakes. But
mm-mm.
no, I'm pretty willing to do anything.
I see, man. You seem like you just go balls to wall, just go right at it.
I think for me, and every stuntman's different, but my passion in life is film. So if something bad happens stunt wise, if God forbid I don't something bad happens, let's just say. I'm okay with that because I'm doing something that I love. So I think you have to go into it as you're okay if something bad happens. You can't go into it tense. You can't. You're okay, and that's really what releases that ability to be a stuntman.
I like that right there. So you know what? I'm kind of curious about this. When you sit down, like on your off time, you're watching a movie, right? And you see like a certain stunt, or you see like an action scene or something like that. Do you like go through like, okay, well, you know what? That was good, but maybe you could have did it this way, or I love how way you did it. Do you like admire other movies, other people's stunts, or something like that?
So the interesting about thing about me is probably for about 15 years now, I can't watch anything scripted. I don't watch TV shows. I don't watch movies. I
Really?
just don't watch them at all because I dissect them, like you're saying, and
Yeah.
it takes the fun out of it. So it's not fun anymore. It's you're watching the technical stuff and you're watching what went wrong or what you could have done. So unfortunately, I don't watch TVs or TV and movies. I stick to sports and reality stuff. So.
Okay. All right. So like when you guys are doing a stunt for a sport or TV or movie and stuff like that, do you like what's the breakdown of communication like between the director, your team, and yourself?
It's interesting when you, from movie to TV. It's interesting, I should say. You're always dealing with your stunt director and not your boss. But with TV, you can have back then we had 20 plus episodes. Now they have like 9, but we had 20 plus episodes back in the day, and you would have a different stunt every day or every week. You would do an episode every week, so stuff would kind of just be thrown at you, and you don't have a lot of time to do rehearsal. You don't have a lot of time to prepare. Whereas I'm doing a Marvel project, we have weeks and sometimes months to prepare for this one scene or a few scenes. So it's different. And Marvel's treated more like a movie because they have less episodes, bigger budget.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with the movie, you have a lot of time to prepare. And when you're dealing with the TV shows, stuff's thrown at you each day, and it's just a little more crazy with TV.
You guys do like what they do with the other actors? They'll have like a little round table and you like discuss this. We're gonna do it like this or do it like that, or you be on set on like you get ready to do it and you go over it.
Definitely, you're choreographing what you're going through. I think if I just use One Tree Hill as an example, if we have a car scene where a character gets hit by a car, you do it once, and if you get hurt, you won't do it that badly the next time because you don't want to get hurt. So it's kind of
Mm.
like that kid that touches the stove. He'll get burned, and then he's not going to get burned anymore. So that's kind of how I learned. I didn't go to stunt school or anything. I learned if you get hurt, you're going to do it correctly the next time. So really, when you're doing TV, you're doing repetitive stuff. You're doing stunts that you've done before, or you learn them very quickly. With like bigger projects, I mean, you're doing crazy stuff with wires and green screens. And green screens interesting because you're acting and the stuff's not always there. You don't always have physical elements and props, and you're kind of acting like, hey, there's a whole world behind me, but all I see is a green screen. And you have to do stunts, and you have to act through it. So different elements in each project.
That's imagine. I mean, I don't know. You know what? I see people do that with the green scene behind them, and you have to be very creative in your imagination to really think about this. Like you might have like a, I don't know, alien scene or something like this and that to you, man. I give you mad props on this. I gotta go back to the difference between working on the MCU and the DC. Like, is the mass difference right there, or like a matter of fact? First of all, are you a DC guy or Marvel guy?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like everyone has the division. I don't really watch either one, so I don't really
Okay.
like superhero stuff. So I'm gonna exit myself out of that conversation. But most people lean towards Marvel, but DC's got some really cool characters, and they got a lot of history. I think Marvel's been the superior one for a while. So, but both are great to work on. The DC project I did, Doom Patrol, was really cool because it had a psychology element to it, like characters you could really get into and you could really try to mentally understand. And so there's a lot of deeper elements to that particular show with DC than there was Marvel, which is more action.
So, what'd you do on the Daredevil project?
So Daredevil's kind of cool because I got to work on the Netflix show, which ended. It was very popular and ended I think 2 seasons, maybe 3. It got canceled, not because of viewership, because
Yeah.
of Disney buying the rights, and
Mm.
Netflix couldn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
And then years later, it's called Daredevil Born Again, and it
It
got
came back.
it came back, and I got to do that as well. So I'm doing that currently. So I got to do both of them, and you're dealing with completely different companies and completely different concept, and that's really cool to see. A lot of those shows have fighting and stuff, and that's not my specialty. And a lot of times with stunts is you got to be really good at that thing that you do, and I'm not good at that, and I'm okay admitting that. So you got to be when you do a stunt, you got to go, hey, I know how to do that, and you got to be honest. If you go in there with the stunt coordinator and go, hey, I want to do that, and then it's time to shoot, then you can't do that, and hundreds of people have cameras ready, and everyone's depending on you. You're not going to work again. So you have to be super honest, and you have to you can't fake your resume there. You have to be super honest. But
I
I
got
do a
you.
lot of wire work and stuff there. But I'm learning, so I learned a lot there. I didn't know a lot of that stuff. My previous 20 years, I didn't do that. So it's a really cool experience to learn.
I love that, man. Before I get to my Doom Patrol, like, what is like a certain stunt that you know you can just hit like that? Like, you just got it. Like, what type of stunts do you just know when these directors call you, these producers call you? I'm calling Preston up because he got this on lock.
I grew up racing cars. I grew up since I was 13. I grew up in California. I grew up in Newport Beach, but the Fontana, it's called Fontana, and that
Yeah.
racetrack is not too far. It's like an hour away. And I was constantly on that racetrack, and I constantly got to interact with race car drivers. And I got into drifting. And so I've always really been involved in car sports. And but getting hit by a car, I would say, is my thing. I mean, and that's kind of dependent on the driver has to drive a certain speed. You have to be at a certain marker in the street. You have to, as soon as that car hits you, you have to turn a certain way. You have to roll, and that's kind of the thing with stunts is not only are you trying not to get hurt, but you are acting it out, and you have to remember to do all this stuff and all these steps, or you could literally like break bones. You could go to the hospital that day. So, but I think I have that down. I think I have car stunts down. That's kind of my go-to.
So when you like dealing with a car, you say you have to time it just right. Are you actively really hitting like that car? Or you got to
Yeah.
time it right where you can roll at the same time?
So that's practical stunt. So you're legitimately doing that. So let's say a car is going 10 miles an hour. You have to know what that car is going exactly when it's going to hit the marker that you're standing on, and you're going to start to hit that HUD right before, like a millisecond before, and then you're going to roll, and you got to roll, and you got to remember all that stuff when you go through the motions of that. So you're not straight up getting hit in the knee with a car, but you're
Yeah.
milliseconds away. So you're like, go, and then you go, you roll. So it's a lot of mathematical equations really that you got to think about, and you have to go throughout your head, and you just don't want to get hurt. So you
Oh
want to
hell
do it.
no. Oh, I know you don't want to get hurt, bro. I'll tell you that
Yeah.
now. I got to give the Doom Patrol. I mean, a lot of people you say yourself, you're not really into the comic world, but there's a lot of big fans out there on Doom Patrol. I'm a big fan of it. If you can share, right, who did you play? Or what was you doing in the whole Doom Patrol series?
So I got to do just they call it utility stunt. So you really do what's needed that day. And I was kind of the Swiss Army knife, so I could do anything that was called for. But I got to work with Brendan Fraser, and that's something that meant a lot to me. He's not only a good character on there, but he's just a historic actor and a super
Yeah,
nice. So that's something I love from that. I'm also a doctor of psychology, so
really
yeah. So
love it.
I specialize in sports psychology. So
Okay,
I do that too. So I have a full time job outside of stunts, and I kind of slowed down the older I got and focused more on
so
psychology.
you have a
But
doctor. Is a doctor, right, in psychology?
doctorate, yeah.
So at the same time, how was that for you? Like getting the guy, I guess you gotta get your bachelor's, master's, and doctorate.
Yeah.
So at the same time, are you doing stunts at the same time as this?
So I'm a boring person because when everyone's out living their life and living Hollywood and doing all that, I'm in a trailer doing online courses, and I'm
Okay.
flying into hybrid classes, And yeah, I started going to school in 2012, doing bachelor's and working my way all the way through, and recently got my doctorate. So I'm recent in that, and I'm still doing my clinical hours to get licensed. But I do have a doctorate degree. And the cool thing I was saying about Doom Patrol psychological is you can really get into the heads of the characters, and it's
Yeah.
very complex. And that's what's cool about that show is you can really dive into the characters and you can connect. It's not just action. It's not just worthless movement. It's really connection with those characters, and from a psychology standpoint, that's really cool.
Is that one reason why you wanted to get that doctorate in psychology?
Uh,
Psychology?
yeah. So the main reason I wanted to get a doctorate, not only to understand myself, everyone wants to understand, the inner workings, but I knew I couldn't do stunts forever,
Yeah.
and I'm 41, so that's pretty old for doing stunts, especially for 20 years. And I wanted to help athletes, and being a stuntman is being a professional athlete. And I wanted to work with professional athletes because there's something that they bring to the table that the normal population doesn't. When you're dealing with an NFL athlete, since they were three, they had a football, and then they played that their entire lives. They sacrificed so much stuff in their life and their family and everything. And now they have all this money, and then they are forced to retire. Like no one's picking them up, and they have to
Yeah.
deal with. I did this my whole life, and now it's gone. What do I do? Where is my life now? What do I figure out? And that's something that the general public doesn't know. They don't know what the mind of a professional athlete is and the complications and what they deal with. So with me with stunts, I kind of wanted to bring my experience of stunt work and being a professional athlete and connecting that psychology. So that's kind of my connection moving forward.
So you think, right, some of that actually probably started right when you got injured back in the day, right? And when you got injured back in the day, like how was your mentally, your whole psychology, your whole mental at that point?
I was devastated. I mean, when you do something your whole life, granted, I was 17 years old, so I wasn't that old, but that was my whole life at that point. So when you're doing something, that's kind of what I know how athletes feel because that is your life. Like you're outside playing basketball all day. You are
Yeah.
dedicating, trying to get better and better, and you're competing, and it's stressful sometimes. And you're trying to get to college, and I finally got to college, and then this devastating injury happened. So that's the mind of an athlete that a normal population doesn't go through. So I know what that feels like, and I've learned the psychology aspect of it. And since I can't do stunts the rest of my life, that's kind of my still. I have a connection to stunts, and
Yeah.
I'm now moving forward to psychology. So that's my connection.
So my last question off of that one, just like off topic, do you think that seed was planted when you got hurt? That's how you got into your doctorate today?
Um, Honestly, how I got into school was because I knew I couldn't do stunts forever. Um, and I was always interested in psychology. And you can't do anything with a bachelor's in psychology. So
Yeah.
I knew I had to get a degree where I could support myself, where I could
You want to
have
help
a
people
living.
too.
And that's really what it was. It was I want to do something. I have a living. I love psychology, and I want to help athletes. So that was just kind
Yeah.
of what I.
I love that right there, man. And you know what? A lot of people don't want to give back, especially being a former athlete. And like, people were just like, all right, well, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to do this and that. But a lot of people don't give back. I applaud you for giving back as well. Thank you
Thank
so much for that right there. Uh, there's one, yeah, here you go. 'Cause I actually wrote this one down. You probably already explained this already, but I'm going to ask you again. Like, how much stress and pressure, fatigue do you get like throughout a day of doing a stunt, different stunts?
I would say going living to be a stuntman throughout the career it gets harder. Your body gets older, and you endure so much injuries that stuff just gets harder. I think waking up every day for me the last 10 years was: do I use ice or do I use heat? What hurts today, and what am I catering today for that pain? The biggest thing with stunts is you get hurt. It's inevitable. So let's say I get hurt and I do something really bad to my ankle and I have like a fracture or something. I'm recovering. The coolest thing about getting injured is once you get injured again, that old injury is in the back window. Now I get to focus on this. So I always found that kind of like cool because I knew the next injury was coming. So I'll forget about this one when that happens. So it's the mentality of always moving forward And if you get stuck in your head and like, oh, I'm injured and I can't work and I'm getting sad and all this stuff, why does this happen to me? You have that moving forward where, okay, I'm going to get injured again, and that's going to be in the back window. And what's the next project and what else can I do? So that positive progression was always key to me.
All right. How do you deal with other stuntmen? Like, let's say you have a big project and you have like multiple guys. And how you guys like? Do you want to work with people you worked with? And also, on another one at this, how do you feel with working with someone who's brand new?
I think with anything in Hollywood, anything with movies, you have egos. Being a stunt man is definitely, I'm going to use quotes, a manly, like a very manly field. It's very,
Yeah.
a lot of testosterone in that. So you're dealing with ego, you're dealing with a lot of testosterone. So there can be some chippiness there. But the cool thing with film and pretty much any other industry is it's tight knit, it's very connected. So
Right.
once you build those connections, you work with a lot of the same people. You know a lot of people, and it's a small group. I mean, stunts with a movie, you're talking 10 stuntmen. With a TV show, you're talking under five. So, and those are the people you work with every day. So, when dealing with someone new, there's no problem there. They're most likely really good at that one thing that they got into stunts. I mean, we're dealing with ex Olympians and ex professional athletes that get into stunts. So, it's something that you have to be very good at to get to the level of doing a major production. By the time they get there, they have that mentality. You're just kind of helping them along the ropes and stuff. So it's a pretty easy process.
I know this is a physically demanding job. So I'm kind of wondering, like, what's your workout routine like? You know what I mean? Because I know you have to stay in like some type of decent shape and all that. It's like, does it depend on the stunt, or you just do overall workouts? So what's your workout routine like? And does does it include your dieting as well?
I would say I'm able to adapt pretty wide range with characters. But to give you an example, Chad Michael Murray on One Tree Hill was like 165, 170, and then I did a TV show called Eastbound and Down, and Kenny Powers is about 230. Well, I did those opposites. So I did one in the winter, one in the summer, and I did that for 3 seasons. So I had to change my weight that much in 6 months period to do those shows. And that was nuts, but it was capable. But when you're doing stunts, you want to be able to adapt to a variety of characters so you can get work. And I love resistance resistance trainings because it's easier on your joints. It's easier when you have injuries. It's something you can do when you travel. But you want to stay in a certain point of your body where you can go left and right. So I want to be at a point where I can, within a couple months, be down to this weight, and a couple months I can be up to this weight. So you want to be in that medium point, and the more you can fluctuate, the more versatile you are, the more roles you get. So you don't want to just go, I'm 180, that's it, that's all I'm doing. You want to be able to, okay, I can do this in 2 months, I can do that. So diet is huge with anything, but diet, like I have that mentality of I won't eat. Like I'll eat enough to survive, but I can lose that weight quick. And maybe not be the healthiest thing, but definitely diet is a huge part of it. But it's just I can shut down, like I can not eat, and I know the goal, and so it's that mentality. It just comes down to.
One thing I got to ask you, right? Right, out of all the movies that you've done so far, like, what's the most fun you've had on set?
I always go back to One Tree Hill just because I did it so many seasons, and it's kind of my home. It's kind of my home base. It's where I got to branch off and do a lot of stuff and still have that steady work of television. So I would say that set was really fun. Um, I mean, at the end of the day, you're working, and I'm a pretty introverted person, so I'm there. I'm there to work, and I don't really socialize outside of that. So I'm there to do a job, and that's what I do. So I'm not saying we don't have fun, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's more of a work. It's not just a social thing. So
I I know it's right. I looked at Instagram, right? You go to a lot of comic and horror conventions,
yeah.
right? And and you bring out the Bunny Man masks. Like, tell me how does it feel, right, when you have, because like you said, it's been 23 years since Bunny Man came out. Like, how do you feel while you go to these conventions? You got your fans, they're coming to you, they're getting your autograph, and you're interacting with them. Like, Walk me through that. How does that make you feel?
So I think with conventions, I love conventions because I love to interact with people, and I think the community, especially horror, is so they're so supportive. And,
Yes.
and there's movies that are from the '70s that this character was in, and they are in line and excited to meet him. And this actor hasn't done anything in 50 years, and it's like they did this one role and cool, and you're like, yeah. Anyway, they're excited to meet that character. They're excited to support them. So horror is so cool. It's so supportive. You have a lot of indie movies that get a lot of love, and so I love the conventions because a lot of people that go to them know each other, and they go all over the nation, and they have friends, and it's kind of this element of kind of some in some cases outcasts that get together, and this is kind of a comfort zone for them,
Yeah.
and being at conventions is really cool because you get to learn a lot of fans. You get to meet a lot of fans. You get to interact with a lot of actors. The autograph aspect of it is it doesn't. I don't even associate that with anything. I think I'm there to interact, and I'm getting there
Yeah.
to make connections and stuff. So the autograph stuff is whatever, and I'm not focused on money. And I think a lot of people are focused on making money, and it's a business, and I'm not, and I'm fortunate enough to not. I just want to make connections, and I want to meet people, and I want to provide something to them, and they provide something to me. But it's just a safe place for them to be, and for all of
Yes.
us to interact, and we have a common thing to love.
I love that, man. And you know what, right? I'm so glad you said that because I've been to so many like comic conventions. I'm a big comic guy. And some people I notice I can tell they're just there for the paycheck. They
Oh
really
yeah.
don't really want to interact with anybody, especially we take pictures with them. They'd be like far away like this or something like that. I'm glad that you get back to your fans, man, and do everything like that. Do you have a timetable about how long you want to do this, or you just go with the feel, or till you feel like okay, this is it?
I took a few years off to finish when I was in my doctorate schooling. So I took a few years off to finish my degree, and then this year I'm doing stunts full time. So I'm doing multiple projects. I have three coming out. I'm gonna end up with five at the end of this year. I'm doing, and those will come out in the next few years. So definitely pushing really hard this year. After that, I don't know. I think that's really cool about conventions is you can do that forever. You can interact with them forever, and that's kind of you can have that connection and not work. I will tell you, stunts are definitely harder the older you get. Your body does not feel good. Being 40 years old is very old in this industry.
In that order, yeah,
It is. It's for any athlete. Like you watch
yeah.
basketball, 40 years old, you're like, oh my God, they need like a walker. But it's true. Your body just doesn't recoup the way it used to. So I won't do it forever. I think I'm making this big push to do a lot of stuff that I'd love to do, or a
Right.
lot of new stuff that I have this experience that I haven't done before. Kind of get my wild oats out. But um, I don't think I'll be doing it for very much longer. Stuff here and there, but definitely not full time.
Is there a stunt that you want to try?
The full body burn was something that I've always wanted to try, so that was really cool to experience that. So that's something I always wanted to try. As far as anything out that I really want to do, no. I think it's more projects now. It's more projects that have different elements of stunts, not one particular, but
Yeah,
like I'm doing a project with Nicolas Cage, which is really hush hush now, called Spider Noir, and
awesome.
that is something cool because I always wanted to work with Nicolas Cage, so that's something I always wanted to do, and it is fortunate we don't have to. I have this other career which makes me money, so I don't have to worry about. Okay, I need this paycheck. I need to make this certain amount of money. I have to do this project, and now film has turned away from where I make money, and now where my passion is, and now I can work with people I really want to work with. I can do projects I really want to do, and it's not all about money. So that's definitely a freedom that's really cool. So I guess in my older age, I'm just doing stunts that I really want to do or bring something new into my career.
Awesome, awesome. Right before I wind this down, I want to ask you a couple more. Like, how was it working on Vampire Diaries and Heroes? Because I love it. I love Heroes.
Heroes was really cool. That was an exciting project. There was nothing else like it then. It was really it was a big buzz when it was out. It was what the early 2000s. So that was,
Yeah.
it was a big thing. Like everyone was like enthralled with that show. And I think the younger audience doesn't know about it, but it was a big deal. So that was really cool to have all that hype around the show and stuff and be a part of it.
Yeah.
Vampire Diaries is something that lives on. Like conventions love that. Girls love Vampire Diaries. They all watch it and can quote stuff, and that was something that I did. I did several seasons. It's not a big thing in my career. It's not
Yeah.
something. I just went in there, did some stunts, and left. But it connects with the core audience. They love that show, and they talk about it all the time. So I love to have that to offer.
I got two more for you, Press. Number one is like, is there anybody on your bucket list that you want to work with? Before you retire, before you move on, is there anybody you would love to work with?
Absolutely, and it's this stuntman called Kane Hodder, which maybe a lot of the normal public doesn't know that name, but it's someone I want to work with, and not necessarily in film. Even if I was at a convention and I got to be beside him at a convention, I would love that. But I'd love to just talk to him, and I've come close. We've done conventions and missed each other here and there, but that's someone I really look forward to and really want to meet, possibly work with. But he's older than me, but we're both older, so I don't know how many stunts we'll be doing. But definitely someone I want to meet and work with, even at a convention level.
Okay. Do you want to teach uh how to do this in the future? It's like maybe like people younger or who wants to get into all this. Do you want to get involved in that?
No,
Okay. So
I've
no.
never, I've never wanted to do stunt coordinating. No, I don't have any interest in that.
Okay, my last one for you, man. What do you like and dislike about it?
Um,
If you feel
it
comfortable
really,
answering.
it really takes a toll on your mental. Um, just the like if I'm doing a stunt and I'll go back to the fire stunt or a car stunt, your adrenaline is not necessarily there. A lot of people think we're adrenaline junkies, but we're not. We're
Mhm.
trying to be as calm as we can. We're trying to get out of there not injured. We're trying to at least me, be at peace in that moment.
Yeah.
But when you go to bed, your mind's racing. You just did this crazy thing, and there's ups and downs. So you have to watch that with your mental. Where you have this huge up that you just did, and then it goes back down. Back home, and reality hits, and so you have to watch your mental. So I would say that, and dealing with injuries is the negative part. The positive part is just being a part of something where I always, when I do a stunt or I'm a part of any project, I have my stamp of my heart on there, man. That's
Yeah.
something I laid my life down, and I'm proud of that. So that's the biggest thing.
Well, since you said that, have you ever been like to the point where you was very scared to do a stunt?
Um, like very scared. No, I think there's certain
Or I'm
stunts that,
nervous.
yeah. I think that fire stunt made me a little nervous. I think
Gotcha.
being fully set on fire, but I think the vulnerability did. I think because you are relying on everyone else and you can't do anything. If something goes wrong, you can't help yourself, and
Yeah.
that's like full trust in people you don't always know. So that's scary.
Wow. How many injuries have you had?
Have any injuries?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't. I don't know. I do get it. It's funny because people will always go, "What injuries do you have?" And I mean, I can name them, and then and like the day after, I'm like, "Oh, I didn't mention that one," which was like a broken collarbone. I'm constantly taking Tylenol because I've had concussions that I can't. I
Oh,
couldn't name how many concussions I've had. I have no idea, but I
oh
get
my God.
migraines like no other. So stuff like that. It's constant injuries, and that's what sucks even more about getting old. Is your injuries are always hurting.
Russell, I appreciate you coming on here, man, and talk about your life. A lot of people don't know how hard this job is. I wouldn't even. I'm not even going to attempt it. I wouldn't even attempt it, man. Like you got more balls than me. I would never even do it. Tell you right now. Before I give you the final message, I give every guest the final message to talk to the audience. I'm playing my little 5 question game with you, sir. You ready to play?
Okay, let's go.
All right. What's the best advice you've ever got?
The best advice I've ever got. It's lame, but don't quit. I think that's the best quote I've ever gotten, and it's legit. Like when things get bad, just keep pushing; it'll get better.
I love it. Best horror movie you've ever seen?
I get that question or best movie I've ever seen. I don't know. I would say cabin fever because I'm biased.
There you go. Here a good one for you. What would past you say to you now?
It gets better, and that's mental. It gets better. It'll be bad, but it gets better.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Snake, I'd
What?
say is the weirdest thing. I'm scared to death of them, but I've tried it, and
You eaten a
that's
snake?
yeah,
Oh God.
yeah.
Uh-uh. Okay. All right. Okay. Last one for you, sir. If you can ask 5 years in the future, your future self 5 years from now, one question, what would that one question be?
Mm, that's, that's a tough one. Um, I don't know. I would hope I'm in a really good place in life. I don't know what question I'd ask. That's a tough one.
Hey, I know, right? It gets everybody.
Yeah.
It does. It does. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on here, man. But I want you to send a final message to people out there, to people understanding like how it is to be a stunt man, the ups, the downs, like your final message to people about like your career, how it is to be a stunt man for people to really, really grasp this.
I think being a stuntman, the biggest takeaway is we're not adrenaline junkies. Everyone thinks we're crazy. Sure, you watch Jackass and they might be a little more adrenaline than a film stuntman, but we're just trying not to get hurt, man. We're trying, when I'm on top of a building and about to jump, I'm trying to be at peace. I'm trying to be calm. I'm trying to go through the motions and not get hurt. So that's the biggest takeaway is we're not adrenaline junkies, which always throws people off. But it's the highs and lows that are difficult. It's whether you're getting injured or whether you're doing this adrenaline thing and then you go back to normal life, or even conventions. You go to a really big convention and you're meeting thousands of people and laughing and everything. And you go home and it's like, okay, I'm home. There's no one here. No one cares. You know, it's that highs and lows that you have to deal with. That's difficult, but overall, stunts are fantastic. They gave me a meaning in life. There's something that I'm passionate about. So, yeah.
Appreciate you, Preston. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from him first. You know, I did not know being a stuntman was that difficult. Especially, I don't know how he did it with the whole like catching on fire thing. I know I would never done that, but I tell you that now. Preston, I appreciate you coming on here, man. Seriously, thank you so much for taking this time on your Saturday. Now, I know you're a very, very busy man. I appreciate your time coming on.
Well, I especially appreciate you, but even more so your audience. I appreciate you guys having me here, listening to all my nonsense. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you next week on Let's Talk About It. Peace.